Okay, this is the 2015 Redwood. I've initiated the leveling system. You want to make sure your truck's clear the coach. Push auto level. Roughly 2 minutes, the coach is going to be level. It'll initially ground the front of the trailer so it'll actually drop down. So you want to make sure your truck's clear out of the way. It takes roughly 2 to 3 minutes. It's level. I thought I'd already pushed record, and evidently I didn't. So it is close. That auto successful. So that's roughly 2 minutes. It's leveled. Once you get the coach leveled, then you want to run your levelers out. Big thing on the leveling system is you want to make sure before you start leveling it with the auto level that the coach is relatively level, like on a prepared site. The coach will not auto level if the area you're doing it on is really cattywampus as far as the not being level. You'll have to manually level it with the keypad down there. But most of your places you're going to go are going to be relatively prepared sites, roughly level. So you just do that, and all 6 jacks will have you leveled and more akin to a foundation then. Okay. So the 2 main slides are hydraulic. The front one is electric. It's all cleaned up. Okay, so all the jacks are out. Rather, the slides are out. Once you get the coach level, then if you're in a campsite, you're going to want to go ahead and hook up the water. So I recommend putting the city water, the water pressure regulator at the coach connection. And then, I take that back. I'd rather hook the hose here, put your water pressure regulator at the spigot side. That way it'll protect your whole hose. I don't recommend, even if you have a low water pressure situation, to run the pump in addition to that. Sometimes you can overpressure the lines and you have some issues there. So hook your water up, then you go in there and kind of open the spigots, kind of get the air out of the line so you got water going through there. You also want to make sure your hot water tank is full of water before you fire up the electric side, specifically on the water heater. You'll do that by, turning on the hot water spigot inside the coach. Go in here, and after it's run for a few minutes, go to your pop-off valve. Make sure you got water coming out of here before you fire up the electric side of the water heater. Otherwise, you will burn the element up. Okay, so you got all the water systems hooked up. All your dump valves are located here. Even if you're hooked up to full hookups, you want to make sure you use those tanks. Let that black tank get at least 2/3 of the way full before you dump it. After you dump it, chase it with the gray. That's going to clean your hose out. Every time or two, you'll probably want to also leave the black valve open. Move your water hose over here to the black tank flush and flush the tank out. Just make sure your black valve is fully open before you do that. Otherwise, you can overpressure that black tank and split it, then you'll have a mess. 2 satellite drops, cable TV connection are all right here, and you can also remotely turn the water pump on. If you do go to winterize it and you want to pump antifreeze through the lines, you'll do the bypass, drain the drain on the fresh water tank, or rather the water heater, and all the water out of the lines. Also be sure to get your toilet valve and cycle it, get all the water out of that too, because it's real likely to freeze. So that's all the basic stuff out here. Okay. So it's got a new battery in it. If you have this thing hooked up for any amount of time, you want to, like 30 days at a time, check to make sure your water is full with distilled water. Otherwise, you'll have some issues with that. There's your battery disconnect, propane generator. There's your remote start for the generator. Of course, it fires up. Again, showing 45 hours on it. Okay. Inside here, you're going to have all your coach systems, your water pump switch. If you're somewhere and you cannot, don't have water, you can fill your tank up and that'll supply your water pressure. Electric side, gas side of the water heater. Make sure your water heater is full of water before you turn the electric side on. You can also run both of these at the same time for it to recover faster if you're in a situation where you can. You got one awning switch over here for this awning. One for this awning here. These awnings, make sure you don't leave them unattended when you use it, because the wind will pick up and you will have a broken awning on your hands. Let's see. Okay. It's all up there. Refrigerators, gas, electric, on these big refrigerators, it takes a good 10 to 12 hours for them to get cold. So before your trip, fire it up. I recommend running your setting up to 9, the coldest setting. And it's going to take 8, 10, 12 hours for it to get cold because it's an absorption refrigerator. There's no compressor. So, you know, get it cold ahead of time. Put cold food in it. You can change the modes. I recommend leaving it on auto. Auto, it's going to seek out whatever power source it can find. If for some reason you got disconnected from 110 power, as long as you got 12-volt battery and your propane's turned on, it'll seamlessly turn to gas. After you change your propane tanks, sometimes your water heater won't want to light, and the reason why is because it's got air in the lines. So what you'll want to do is, you want to fire one of your burners up, let it burn for a few minutes to get the air out of the lines, then try the water heater in the refrigerator, because oftentimes the air in the lines are going to cause it to throw a fault code or not light. Electric fireplace is 5,200 BTUs. You can turn that on for electric heat, for ambiance, or both. Between that and your heat pump, if it's above 40 degrees or so, your electric heat systems are going to keep the coach relatively warm. If it's below 40 degrees, you may have to fire up your furnace. Max air vent here. This has also got the rain sensor and a temperature control. Being it's high mounted, it's got the remote here. What else is in here? Second AC, pretty simple, cold heater. Rather, just air conditioner on that one. There's your remotes for the the Max Air fan. I'm going to leave those in the sink. Pretty simple here. If you do decide to add a washer dryer, you just take these shelves out, and you got plumbing back there. For your Max Air fans, you got a switch here to turn this one on in the hallway. You got to have that on before that fan's going to work. Same thing here in the water closet. You got two switches, one's for the light, one's for the fan. You got to make sure they're on, that powers it up. Your air filters, you want to probably take those down, wash them about every 30 days to keep your efficiency up. Once a year, every 9 months, you want to crawl on that roof and make sure your sealant hadn't dried or cracked. If it has, you go up there and get you a tube of Dicor and float over the existing seam. It'll self-level itself. I think that's about it. Anyway, we're going to have Robbie, when he gets there, to kind of go over the systems as well. But if you got any questions, give me a buzz. Thanks.